Ever wondered which taco chains turned from must-try bites into avoid-at-all-cost disasters, while only a couple still get it right? Picture the soggy shells, bland fillings, and late-night drive-thrus you swore you'd never revisit. But could your guilty pleasures secretly be on this list? Let's kick things off with the king of late-night regret, the one and only Taco Bell. You know the scene. It is late at night, you and your friends are looking for something fast, something cheap, and something that feels like a guilty pleasure. The glowing purple sign lures you in like a bug to a street lamp, promising tacos, burritos, and nachos at prices that sound too good to be true. And the truth? Sometimes they are. Taco Bell has become the default choice for many Americans when midnight hunger strikes, but it is also the first name that pops up when people talk about tacos that let them down. The biggest issue with Taco Bell is the quality inconsistency. One night, you might get a crunchy taco that actually has some snap to it, with warm beef filling and a good drizzle of sauce. The next night, you get a shell so soggy it folds in half before you even lift it to your mouth. The beef is more paste than meat, and the lettuce looks like it was chopped a week ago and kept alive only by a prayer. For seniors who remember the Taco Bell of the 80s and 90s, the taste today is almost unrecognizable. Back then, there was novelty. Now it feels like survival food for broke college students. What makes it worse is how the chain has leaned into gimmicks instead of flavor. Doritos Locos Tacos, Nacho Freeze, bizarre menu mashups that make no culinary sense. They are fun for a photo, sure, but do they actually taste good? More often than not, the answer is no. And here's the kicker. Taco Bell rarely fills you up. The portions are small, the fillings skimpy, and if you do want enough food to feel satisfied, you end up spending more than you would at a better chain. Price is a tricky point. Yes, you can still get items off the value menu for a few dollars, but inflation has crept in. That Crunchwrap Supreme you remember getting for around $3 is now pushing $5 or $6. Suddenly, the cheap option feels less like a steal and more like a disappointment. The truth is, you are not paying for food that is filling or high quality. You are paying for marketing and nostalgia. Of course, Taco Bell still has its loyalists. There are people who swear by the Crunchwrap, the cheesy Gordita Crunch, or the Mexican pizza. And for them, maybe it is worth the risk. But for most people, one bad visit is enough to put Taco Bell on the avoid list. Here's the thing. Taco Bell could be good. It could use fresher ingredients, bigger portions, and simpler recipes that do not rely on strange experiments. But as it stands today, it is the ultimate coin flip of fast food tacos. One bite might hit the spot, the next bite might make you regret every life choice that brought you to that drive-thru. Your turn, have you ever left Taco Bell wondering if you actually ate food, or just filled space in your stomach? Coming in hot but leaving diners lukewarm is the once quirky, now confused Del Taco. Del Taco built its reputation on being the chain that dared to be different. Unlike the competition, they added French fries to the menu alongside tacos and burritos. For years, that combination of salty fries and spicy tacos was a fun novelty that made them stand out. You could roll up to Del Taco, order a handful of tacos, a burger, and a basket of fries, and feel like you had unlocked some hidden cheat code of fast food. But here's the problem. Del Taco lost its identity. Somewhere along the way, trying to be everything to everyone meant they stopped being good at the one thing that really mattered. Tacos. The shells got thinner, the fillings got weaker, and the fries that once felt like a bonus started tasting like cardboard filler. It is like they forgot that different only works when it's also delicious. A senior who remembers Del Taco in the 1980s or 90s might recall fresher tasting food, a fun roadside stop with character. Today, walking into Del Taco feels more like walking into a faded copy of Taco Bell with fries tacked on the side. The vibrant energy is gone. Quality has also taken a hit. The ground beef filling is often greasy and flavorless. The lettuce and tomatoes are not crisp. The cheese is bland. And when you throw fries on the side that taste like they were sitting under a heat lamp since morning, the whole experience becomes a chore to finish. Even the burgers, which used to feel like a fun twist, are now flat and lifeless. Price-wise, Del Taco was once considered a value chain. You could grab tacos for cheap, add fries, and feel like you got more than your money's worth. But now prices creep higher while quality sinks lower. Spending $5 or $6 on tacos and fries that do not satisfy feels like throwing money away. It is not that Del Taco cannot make good food. Sometimes, if you get lucky, the fries come out fresh and the tacos are decent. But relying on luck is not what a taco chain should be about. Customers want reliability. And Del Taco, sadly, has not been able to provide that for years. The biggest disappointment is how Del Taco tried to copy other chains instead of building on its unique strengths. Instead of doubling down on tacos and making fries a fun side dish, they spread themselves too thin, offering burgers, milkshakes, and random menu experiments. The result? A chain that feels like a jack of all trades, master of none. So tell me, do you think fries belong next to tacos, or should Del Taco have stuck to its roots? Third on our hit list is the chain where the sides upstage the star of the show, Taco John's. If you have ever heard of Taco John's, you probably know them for one thing: potato olays. Those crispy, seasoned little rounds are often the only reason people remember this chain. And that is both the strength and the downfall of Taco John's. Because when your side dish is more famous than your tacos, something has gone seriously wrong. Let us start with the tacos themselves. Taco John's promises bold flavors, but more often than not, you get bland tortillas with uninspired fillings. The beef tastes like it was seasoned with nothing more than salt. The lettuce is limp. The cheese is a sprinkle of orange shreds that barely melts. It is the kind of taco you forget the second you finish chewing. That is not what people are hoping for when they walk into a taco chain. Meanwhile, the potato olays are delicious. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, with seasoning that actually makes you crave another bite. People order Taco John's for the tacos, but stay for the potatoes. And that is the problem. If the potatoes are the main event, why bother with the tacos at all? For seniors who remember Taco John's from its expansion days, there was once a feeling of novelty. A smaller chain with some personality, spreading across the Midwest, offering a taste of Mexican-inspired fast food with a twist. But the twist has become the crutch. Instead of improving the tacos, Taco John's leaned harder into the potato olays, almost admitting that the main attraction was not worth fixing. Price is another sore spot. While not outrageous, the cost does not match the quality. You can spend $7 or $8 on a meal and walk away thinking, those potatoes were great, but why were the tacos so forgettable? That is not the kind of thought that keeps customers coming back. The marketing also feels off. Taco John's has tried to brand itself as a competitor to the big players, but it does not deliver the same reliability or crave factor. When people talk about tacos, they rarely talk about Taco John's, unless it is to mention those potato olays. There is potential here. If Taco John's put the same care into its tacos that it does into its potatoes, it might have a fighting chance at being memorable, but until that happens, it is hard to recommend. It is a chain where the supporting act stole the spotlight and left the star standing awkwardly on stage. Your turn. Have you ever had a side dish so good it made you forget the main course completely? Sliding into the lineup with a crunchy deal that is cheap for a reason, we have Jack in the Box tacos. If you have ever been to Jack in the Box, you know these tacos are not really tacos at all. They are greasy little envelopes of mystery meat folded into a fried shell and glued together with a slice of cheese that barely qualifies as melted. They come in pairs, usually for a price so low it feels like you are breaking the system. 2 tacos for under $2. Sounds like a steal, right? Until you bite into one and realize you might have just stolen from yourself. The biggest issue with Jack in the Box tacos is that they seem designed to be eaten more as a dare than a meal. The shell is deep fried with the filling already inside, which means instead of a crunchy exterior and flavorful interior, you get a soggy mash pressed into a grease-soaked casing. The beef is more like a paste than anything recognizable, and the lettuce is shredded so fine it almost disappears into the oil. For anyone who grew up in the 1990s or 2000s, these tacos were a cheap thrill after school or late at night. Today they are more like a regret sandwich in disguise, and yet people keep ordering them. Why? Nostalgia. Jack in the Box tacos are the kind of food you remember eating in high school with your friends, laughing in the parking lot as you tried to figure out what exactly you were chewing. They are cheap, salty, and filling enough to get you by, but not in a way that you actually enjoy. Price is both the draw and the downfall here. Yes, you can still get 2 tacos for around $2, and in a world where fast food prices keep climbing, that looks tempting. But cheap does not mean value. You are paying less because the quality is less. And when you are chewing through lettuce mush and greasy shells, you start to realize maybe that extra few dollars for a real taco somewhere else would have been the smarter choice. To be fair, there are people who defend Jack in the Box tacos with surprising passion. They claim it is the perfect junk food, the ideal combination of salty, greasy, and crunchy. And if you go in with that expectation, maybe you will not be too disappointed. But if you are looking for an actual taco and with real meat, fresh toppings, and a shell that does not drip grease like a sponge, you are in the wrong place. Jack in the Box has its strengths. The burgers can be decent, the curly fries are legendary, and the breakfast menu has its fans. But the tacos? They are the weakest link. A gimmick that should have stayed a late-night dare, not something people still put on menus as a selling point. What about you? Do you think Jack in the Box tacos are a guilty pleasure, or should they finally be retired for good? Halfway through and already running out of flavor, it is the bland clone known as Qdoba. When Qdoba first appeared, it looked like it might give Chipotle a run for its money. The setup was nearly identical. Walk down the line, pick your tortilla, your protein, your toppings, and build your taco or burrito just the way you like it. For a while, Qdoba had a reputation for being the friendlier cousin, the place where you could pile on extra toppings without worrying about stingy scoops. But over the years, the cracks started to show, and the tacos never quite held up to the competition. The problem with Qdoba is not that it is bad, but that it is forgettable. The flavors are muted, the toppings lack freshness, and the seasoning often feels like an afterthought. Where Chipotle's chicken might be smoky and bold, Qdoba's is often plain. Where guacamole at other chains might taste creamy and rich, Qdoba's version can be bland and watery. For seniors who remember the rise of fast casual dining in the early 2000s, Qdoba might have felt exciting at first. Today, it is more like background noise in the fast food landscape. Another issue is the identity crisis. Qdoba tried to expand its menu with nachos, quesadillas, and bowls, but instead of mastering one item, it spread itself too thin. The tacos, which should be the star of the show, often feel like an afterthought. Tortillas that tear easily, fillings that taste under-seasoned, and toppings that are thrown on without care. It is not offensive, but it is not memorable either. And in a world where people have so many taco options, being forgettable is a slow death sentence. Price is another sticking point. Qdoba is not cheap, often charging the same or more than Chipotle. When you spend $8 to $10 for a meal, you expect something satisfying, something that makes you want to come back. Instead, you leave with a half-empty feeling and the thought that you should have just gone to Chipotle in the first place. That is not a great business model. Of course, Qdoba still has loyal customers. Some people like the queso, some like the fact that you can get extra toppings without a fight. But those small wins are not enough to justify the mediocrity of the tacos themselves. If the main dish does not shine, the rest of the menu cannot carry the weight. The saddest part is that Qdoba could have been great. It had the blueprint, the chance to stand out, and the resources to compete. But instead of sharpening its flavors and making tacos that could rival the best, it settled into being average. And in the fast food world, average does not survive long. Do you think Qdoba ever had a chance to beat Chipotle? Or was it always destined to be the forgettable twin? No list of fallen taco spots would be complete without the fading hype machine called Moe's Southwest Grill. There was a time when walking into Moe's felt like an event. The staff would shout, "Welcome to Moe's," as you came through the door, and for a moment, you felt like part of a club. It was fun, it was energetic, and it set Moe's apart from other fast casual taco spots. But over time, that spark faded. The greeting became routine, the food became inconsistent, and the charm wore off. The tacos at Moe's suffer from the same problem as the brand itself: style over substance. On paper, the menu looks promising. You can choose from a wide variety of proteins, toppings, and salsas. But in practice, the flavors are often flat. The ingredients lack freshness, and the tacos fall apart halfway through eating. The tortillas can be gummy, the fillings greasy, and the balance of flavors off. For seniors who remember the rise of Moe's in the early 2000s, it might have felt like a fresh, exciting alternative. Today, it feels like a tired act running on fumes. The "Welcome to Moe's" catchphrase became both a blessing and a curse. At first, it was fun. Then, it became forced. Now it often feels like employees are going through the motions, shouting the phrase with no enthusiasm. Customers pick up on that, and when the food does not back up the hype, the whole experience starts to feel hollow. Price is another sore spot. Moe's is not cheap, often matching or even exceeding the cost of its rivals. Spending $10 on tacos that fall apart in your hands or taste like they were assembled in a rush does not inspire repeat visits. Customers who once flocked to Moe's now drift to Chipotle, Torchy's, or even local taco spots that actually deliver flavor. What makes Moe's most disappointing is the wasted potential. The chain had everything it needed to succeed: a fun brand, a lively atmosphere, and a strong start. But instead of improving quality, it coasted. And customers noticed. Loyalty only lasts so long when the food does not measure up. There are still people who enjoy Moe's, of course. Some like the queso, some like the variety, and some have nostalgic memories tied to the brand. But for most, it is no longer the go-to. It is the place you remember fondly but do not actually visit anymore. Moe's Southwest Grill is a perfect example of how hype can only carry a restaurant so far. Without consistently good food, no catchphrase in the world can keep people coming back. Have you ever walked into a restaurant that greeted you with energy, only to find the food did not live up to the welcome? Wrapping up the cautionary picks is the chicken chain that should have stopped while it was ahead. El Pollo Loco Tacos. El Pollo Loco is known for one thing: fire-grilled chicken. And when it sticks to that, the food is genuinely good. The smoky char, the juicy cuts, the family-style meals, they all hit the spot. But tacos? That is where the problems begin. The tacos feel like they were tacked onto the menu because everybody else is doing it. Not because the chain knew how to do them right. The tortillas are often stiff or dry, like they sat out too long. The toppings, cheese, lettuce, salsa, are tossed on without care. And while the chicken inside might taste good on its own, it rarely works in taco form. The balance is missing. Instead of a layered bite where tortilla, protein, and toppings work together, you get a pile of ingredients that feel mismatched. What makes it worse is that people do not even walk into El Pollo Loco for tacos. They go for chicken combos, bowls, or family meals. The tacos are the afterthought, the item you tack on when you feel like experimenting, and 9 times out of 10, that experiment ends in regret. Imagine going to a steakhouse and ordering sushi. It might technically be on the menu, but you already know it is not what they are famous for. Price makes the disappointment sting even more. You can easily spend $6 to $8 on a taco meal, which puts it in the same range as Chipotle or even Torchy's. And when the result tastes rushed and uninspired, you cannot help but wonder why you did not just spend that money somewhere else. For seniors who remember the rise of El Pollo Loco in the 1980s, it probably felt fresh and different. But the taco experiment has never lived up to that original spark. The chicken is still good, but wrapped in a taco shell, it loses its magic. Have you ever ordered a food item from a restaurant and instantly thought, this is not what they should be making? Shifting gears to the chains that actually deliver, few names stand as strong as Chipotle Mexican Grill. When Chipotle came onto the scene in the 1990s, it felt like a completely new way to do fast food. You could walk down the line and build your own meal, choosing tortillas, meats, beans, rice, and toppings. It was fast food, yes, but it also felt fresh, colorful, and made with care. For tacos, that meant warm tortillas, smoky grilled meats, and salsa that had real kick. The strength of Chipotle has always been its consistency. Even if the line is long, you usually get what you expect. The chicken is smoky, the steak has seasoning, and the barbacoa still carries that slow-cooked tenderness. Add in fresh toppings like pico de gallo or corn salsa, and the tacos feel vibrant compared to the lifeless versions at other chains. Of course, Chipotle is not cheap. A full meal can easily run $9 to $12, sometimes more if you pile on guacamole. But here's the thing. Customers are willing to pay because they feel like they are getting real value. You walk away full, you feel like the food was made to your taste, and you do not regret the purchase. Seniors who watched fast food shrink in quality over the years can see why Chipotle stood out. It tried harder, and it showed. Chipotle is not perfect. There have been food safety issues, and sometimes quality dips if the location is poorly run. But overall, it remains one of the only national taco chains that people still trust. The tacos might not outsell the burritos or bowls, but they still stand up as a reliable, flavorful choice. In a world where so many chains have stumbled, Chipotle has managed to hold on to its reputation. It still feels modern, it still feels customizable, and it still gives you food that actually tastes like food. Do you think Chipotle's tacos deserve to get more attention, or will the burrito always be the main star? And finally, we finish on a high note with the chain that proves creativity and flavor can work together, Torchy's Tacos. Torchy's began as a humble food truck in Austin, Texas, with a promise of damn good tacos. And unlike most slogans, this one delivered. From the start, Torchy's leaned into bold, over-the-top creations that still tasted balanced. Think fried chicken tacos with green chilies, brisket tacos with smoky richness, or even fried avocado tacos that turned skeptics into believers. Each one felt playful and different, but still like a taco worth eating. What makes Torchy's stand out is that it never plays it safe. While other chains stick to ground beef, cheese, and lettuce, Torchy's throws out wild ideas that somehow work. They even name their tacos with attitude: Trailer Park, Brushfire, The Wrangler, giving each order personality. And the best part? The food matches the hype. Walking into Torchy's feels different too. The energy is lively, the menu is cheeky, and the atmosphere says, you are here to have fun. For seniors who remember when tacos were simple comfort food, Torchy's feels like a modern twist that still respects tradition. Yes, the tacos are bigger, louder, and more experimental, but they never lose their soul. The one downside is price. Torchy's tacos usually run $3 to $5 a piece, sometimes more for specialty creations. A full meal can quickly climb to $12 or $15. But unlike the chains we have already covered, here the cost feels justified. You are paying for creativity, for flavor, and for an experience that feels a little more special than drive-thru tacos. Torchy's has expanded far beyond Texas, and wherever it goes, fans follow. It has managed to keep its identity intact, which is rare for a chain. Customers walk in expecting damn good tacos or taco, and most of the time, that is exactly what they get. Torchy's is proof that tacos can still be exciting in a world full of copycats and shortcuts. It takes risks, and those risks usually pay off in flavor and satisfaction. Do you prefer your tacos classic and simple? Or do you enjoy the wild combinations that chains like Torchy's make famous? And there you have it. If you have ever been burned by a bad taco or saved by a great one, drop your own winners and losers in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to the hidden menu so you never miss the next bite-sized showdown.
And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.